Welcome back to the studio. Now I am working on planting some gladiolus up in this part of this front planter. There's going to be nasturtiums in here. I've already planted my geraniums. And these are going to be salmon colored. So I've made mixtures of my alizarin crimson plus cadmium red light plus white, and alizarin crimson plus white, and then also the cadmium red light plus white. So I've got three different mixtures in different shades, going from light to dark. The leaves, the long strap-like leaves of the gladiolus are mixes of phthalo blue plus lemon yellow plus a little bit of cadmium yellow medium plus white. And this is one of the few flowers that I paint the leaves first and then paint the flowers, because the flowers kind of are up above the foliage, but when I start painting them down over the greens I have to be very, very careful. You'll see that. But now I begin just putting some of my flower color in. Now I want a bud or some flowers to break up over the chair. That helps give a little bit of depth into our painting. When you have overlapping elements in a painting, it's just like these geraniums coming over that chair. That gives depth because those chairs obviously are behind the geraniums. So I want to do the same thing here with my gladiolus. Just bring my blossoms in front of the geraniums. These will be lighter, so they come in front of that deep red. And I painted, one reason I painted my foliage first is I want to place, strategically place where my blossoms are because of the bringing up in front of the chair. And so it's easier for me to paint the greens in the background and then paint the flower stalks. I'm sure other people do it differently, but that's how I do it. Now I want one coming up in here, and it'll break over that planter in the background. I want to leave a little air here behind my chair, so again you get that feeling of overlapping elements. I have to be very careful painting over this green. Just lay the paint on. You can see how my brush has picked up some of that green, so I have to keep wiping it continually. Keep my clean brush means clean paint on your canvas and nice, bright, crisp, pretty colors. Again, see how that's picked up the green? This is a bright brush. It's got a square end, and I like it because I can use the broad edge to make bigger strokes, or I can use the corner to make smaller strokes. I'm going to bring a flower down in here. I'm letting some of the stalks, I'm going to bring those back up over this flower. And gladiolus grow out from a bulb. They come out from this base, so the plants fan out at the top. I enjoy gardening as well as painting flowers, so I've over the years learned by gardening and working with these plants out in the garden, I've learned a lot about how they grow, and it helps me when I paint them. Now this blossom, this end is going to come up over in front of that one. This is going to be a little bit darker there. Now this plant is going to start seeing some of the blooms for this plant coming up. The flowers will extend around the side of the canvas. I'm not going to worry about those right now, because I want to show you how I do these. So I'll catch a little light here, a little light there. Now I don't want this one straight up and down because I don't want it to line up with the edge of the canvas there. I don't want it to mimic that edge, so we'll have it coming kind of this way. And then we'll have the base of the flower that goes around the side there. And I let a little of that green pull into the flower color because I want this one to drop back. So that dulls it just a little bit. Now we'll add our stalks. I've saved my leaf color. And I'm going to, these geranium buds, I've got saved some of that color. I'm going to just mute those a little bit, let them drop back, because I want my stalk to be a little more prominent and come forward. Now this is, I've just added a little bit more white into my green mixture, which again is phthalo blue, plus lemon yellow, plus a little bit of cadmium yellow medium. And these come up and this stalk I'm just going to pull down to the base of that plant. Another one here. Just dab that paint on. Again, I have to be very careful not to pull that background color, because that's the floor and all is still a little bit wet. I want this to be a little bit lighter. The stalk goes down into the depths, so it's a little bit not quite as light, but I don't want it that dark. And then as we come up, it catches the sunlight. This one comes up here. I'll let it even come in front of the trunk. That's a tall one. Some of these get pretty tall. I'm going to let this one get a little bit taller there. And so this one's not even going to have any flowers on it. This is just going to be a bud that will open up in a day or two. Now I'm going to bring a couple of my leaves here, these long strappy leaves. Bring it up in front of that flower. Again, I load my brush up and then just can pull it sideways. Bring that up in front of those flowers. Sometimes you have to do this a couple of times, and even sometimes I pull it the opposite direction. Get that paint thicker. I'm going to bring a deeper colored flower back here. Now, the centers of the flowers are really deep. And so I'm using a mixture of alizarin crimson plus liquid to make my centers. And it just in. Deep. These are painted a lot. I paint petunias pretty much like this. I paint hollyhocks like this. They're all just a flower that's very thin and delicate, kind of a ruffly. And so this is the technique I use for petunias, gladiolus, hollyhocks. I'm trying to think of other flowers that have this shape. This is morning glories. This gives that deep center. Bring some dark in here. I do this impressionistically. I don't labor and make my flowers are not absolutely, totally, every petal delineated, and I'm still working. I think one of my galleries calls my paintings magical impressionism. Now I'm going to make a little lighter mixture of my cadmium red light plus white, because I want to highlight where the sun is hitting these front flowers here, because I want them to come forward a little bit more of our geraniums in behind them. So I just highlight this edge. That pops it forward just a little bit. And add a little bit more onto that one. I'm going to add one more blossom in here. Highlight the edge of that. And add my deep center. Bit of a highlight right there. Just a matter of working back and forth. Again, I can actually come back with the corner of my larger brush and add that center in where I kind of painted over it. That brings that forward of the chair. Let's add a little more light on this one. But you can see how I can come back and highlight those. Let's add one more flower in here. Make these nice and full. Happens in the shadow a little bit, so I'm not going to get quite as light down here. And again, this one gets a little more light. And these are some light there. Let me add my dark center on that other one that I added. I really appreciate you watching my YouTube videos. Please subscribe to my channel and share my videos with other artists. Always feel free to ask questions in the comment section. And visit my blog. The link is in the description below. It's also, the address is on the final frame of my video. On my blog, I show the complete step-by-step process of this painting. So all you have to do is go down, click on that link, and it will take you to the very first post in this blog, and then you can just follow the entire process through. So I really appreciate you watching. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, and please be safe.